All right, Will, let's start with the broad question. Who and what are the New Orleans Pelicans?
Man, I'm telling you, I think that's going to be the question we're all asking because we're not sure what the start lineup's going to be. We're not sure, how they're going to play. They want to institute some new principles of how they're going to look on a night-to-night basis. But I think one thing's for sure that David Griffin promised changes, and that's what we're going to see. This team is going to look a lot different than they looked in the past. They're going to play different. They're going to throw some different lineups out there, and I think the main goal for them is to play small, to play fast, and shoot a lot of threes. And I think that's going to be their key to success.
Yeah, playing small, so most people know, probably means Herb Jones playing center, which I guess I'm okay with. You're taking one of the best perimeter defenders, and now you're telling him to put his nose in there against some of the best bigs. Is that what we're going to see? Because Zion, I don't think, is going to defend a lot of bigs.
Yeah, I think it's probably going to be committee, right? I think some nights it's going to be Herb on the biggest guy on the court. Maybe they'll throw some B.I. in there. Maybe it'll be Zion. I think the biggest thing is them working as a unit, being real, working together, communicating, kind of bringing that physicality on a night-to-night basis. They're not, just with the way the roster is, they're not going to be big enough to compete with some of these teams in the paint. So it's going to be about them swarming, working together, and creating turnovers. That's when this team is at their best, when they can get out in the open court, allow Zion, Herb Jones, and those guys to play in transition. That's when they're really dangerous.
So I think of Oklahoma City last year, a team that may have been undersized, that lost every game on the boards, but leaned into what they did well. Is that kind of what the Pelicans are going to have to be this year?
No doubt. I think that's the blueprint. I think, obviously, Chet Holmgren is an excellent shot blocker, but he's not necessarily your traditional center who is getting 10, 12 rebounds. They're one of the worst rebounding teams in the league last year, and they were still top 5, top 10 defensively most of the season. So I think you're going to see this team compete defensively. They're going to create a lot of turnovers. They're going to do well defensively. I mean, they've been top 6 the last 2 seasons under Willie Green. So they got a lot of principles in place. They got one of the best perimeter defenders in the NBA. But it's about them bringing that mentality night to night, knowing that they're going to be the smaller team and having to do those little things to make up where they lack in size.
So I've been covering this team since they came here in 2002 and were the Hornets. I don't think I've ever seen the Western Conference this stacked. I mean, it is ridiculous how deep it is. The Pelicans won 49 games last year and were a play-in team. Where do they land this year? I mean, I an argument that they're top 4. I could also talk about them missing the play-in. How important is it going to be to start fast and not say, boy, we gave that one away?
Yeah, I think it's going to be 2 things for most of the teams in the West. It's going to be, can you keep your stars healthy, and how much of your depth can you trust, right? And I think with the Pelicans, adding a guy like DeJounte Murray, that was one of the biggest things. He's a guy who plays games. He hasn't missed a whole lot of time in his career. He's consistently out there, so they're going to really lean on him a lot this season. And when you look at that bench, they have a lot of younger guys, Carlo Makovich, Yves Missi, Jordan Hawkins, Antonio Reeves. How many of these guys can they trust? Because they no longer have a Najee Marshall or a Dyson Daniels, guys that they've really leaned on in the past. Can you find that depth on the bench when you're on that back-to-back, when you're playing your 3rd game in 4 nights? Can they really trust those young guys to go out and make plays? And most importantly, as we always say with this team, can they keep Zion and B.I. on the court?
That's final 2 questions here. Zion, is he poised to have an MVP caliber season and really ascend? He ascended last year. He played the most games he has. He was awesome down the stretch. Is this the year we see him maybe in the MVP conversation?
I think this is the best mentally and physically I've seen him come into a season since he's been in the league. I think you really saw a focus with him this summer, not only on what he's doing for himself, but how he's staying connected with the team, how he's being present as a leader with this group. I think there's no doubt in my mind he's going to be an all-NBA level guy as long as he can play the amount of games that he needs to play. But I think he's going to be really great, and I think the biggest difference you're going to see this year is he's going to defend at a level we haven't seen before. The way he gets steals, the way he was getting blocks at the end of the season, I think that's going to become the norm for him. And when he's doing that, that's when this team goes to a different level.
All right, final question here. B.I. is starting the season here. He has been the speculation of all sorts of trade rumors. Does he finish the season here?
I think so. I think there's not a long list of teams that are trying to get him and pay him the money that he's looking for. And I think, frankly, this team is going to be too good to try to make that big of a trade. I think B.I. is coming in with a great mental focus as well. And I think if they're a team that's right around that 5-6 range, I don't know if trading a guy like B.I. at the deadline is going to be good for where they want to go ultimately. So I think my prediction would be he ends up staying, but I think we really got to see what it looks like when they're playing small all the time, if they can actually make that work.
All right, as we wrap up here, every year you come on our show right at the start of the season, and every year I make some wild predictions.
Oh, I've been waiting for this.
All right, I'm not even going to go through my top 8. I'm just going to give you my NBA Finals. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Minnesota, even without Cat, in Philadelphia.
I like it. If Joel Embiid's not playing back-to-backs, they got Paul George. I'll tell you one thing, the NBA is going to be really happy if they get Anthony Edwards in the finals. That'll be great for them.
And I'm telling you, I think Chris Finch is a really good coach. I think Minnesota could be better without Cat Naz Reid. So we'll see. That's my pick right now. We're going to forget this if I'm wrong. If I'm right, I can assure you we'll be queuing it back up on social media.
Yeah, and we can shout out Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Hopefully he can get a ring. Maybe that could connect a little bit with the Pelicans, so that'll be good for everybody.
Yeah, you're right. Will Guillory, thank you so much.
Appreciate
Appreciate
you.
your time. Thank you very much.